Welcome to Joy of Business Radio, hosted by Joy of Business facilitators from around the world, with special shows from Simone Milasas, the founder and creator of Joy of Business. Are you bored or dissatisfied with your work or business? Joy of Business is an invitation to a completely new way of creating. Did you know your business and job can actually be fun and joyful? If what you are currently doing isn't working for you, listen into this show full of pragmatic tools from Access Consciousness, which change everything in business, from money to finance, staff, creativity, productivity, communication, and beyond. Joy of Business Radio, weekly on OMTimes Radio.
Hello everyone and welcome to Joy of Business on OMTimes Radio. I'm just a little bit excited today. I'm your host today and I'm Rachael O'Brien and today I'm with Sylvia Puentes. Hello Sylvia.
So happy to join you. Hi Rachel.
I'm like, I actually got this lady for 1 hour.
I laugh, but you're right. I don't always acknowledge how difficult it is to get me for an hour. And I'm so happy to be here. I mean, this 2020 with this topic of business and creating and wow, like I thank you for the invitation, Rachel.
Yeah, I mean, so welcome folks. If you happen to stumble across this radio show, we are Advanced Joy of Business Facilitators. And we've got a very different point of view about business. And our topic today really reflects that. So Sylvia travels the world facilitating access consciousness classes, business classes, voice classes. And she also, as well as having her own business, she also works with access consciousness. She is it the American, South American, North American coordinator? What's your title?
Event coordinator for all the Americas. So from Canada down to South America. How did I get so lucky? It's like, wow.
I know. Event coordinator for all the Americas. I love it. And Canada. So today our topic that we've chosen is business beyond results. And if you're listening to this, you'll be like, huh? What did she just say? Is she crazy? Did she just say business beyond results? So if you are fed up with doing business from this is my business and I have to work hard and business is difficult and the drag, the drudgery, if you've lost the fun, have a little listen in and see where we come from business and what our point of view is. So Sylvia, we chose the topic today, business beyond results. Would you like to talk to people a little bit about this because it's such a it's
yes.
a spin on those people where do business from.
It really, really is such a spin. And I have to say that, looking at my own kind of last 10 years playing with the access tools and looking at the growth of my business, how much I actually resisted business early on in college. I thought I was going to go into a business major, but I went to my first business class and I thought, oh no. Like, what I didn't know at the moment is that I actually knew something different was available. But there was this, when you go to college, when people talk about business, there's such this linear A plus B equals C. And so people are like taking these steps to create this result. And what I have enjoyed about the access tools and the joy of business is that you're actually beginning to ask questions to tap in what you know. And more now than ever, I have a 20-year-old son who's now using these tools and actually going into what he knows, that enthusiasm of what he knows he can create and the difference he views in the world. And I do wonder, like, what would it take for these tools to reach every corner of the planet so people actually know, one, you're not wrong, and two, you might actually know more than you've acknowledged. And if it wasn't about the result, what would you choose? Because this is where I get that, even in my own life, about there's been this spark from a very young age that I not until recently have I acknowledged it's always been there about contributing, creating more, really looking to have, people inspired and joyful. And so as I choose the different things that I've chosen in my life, that's always been this thread. And when you do have that joy and enthusiasm, that actually creates and expands your business beyond the linear points of what you need to do first, second, and third. So at any time, Rachel, ask me a question because I can keep talking.
Oh my goodness me. No, I love this. So if you're sitting here and what we are actually talking about and what Sylvia is talking about is that she recognized that the way she shaped her life, really business and work is a huge force in how we shape our lives. And Sylvia got from a very young age, and this is where we talk about business beyond definition, beyond results, because what business from definition would be, I'm going to start my own business and I'm going to sell this and this is what it looks like. Now for the two of us and what we're part of today, which is a global movement of bringing ease to every single aspect of your life, even business and even money, which isn't this reality's point of view. What Sylvia got from a very young age is that she was looking to create something entirely different with business and with herself and with her son and for the planet. It was what I hear screaming out of that conversation is that you knew that you would like to create something different. And that really is the essence of joy of business. And it's not a, yeah.
Well, yes, Rachel, and that's the gift I really get about empowering people to know that they know, which is the main thread throughout access, consciousness, and joy in business. But the sense of, when I look back, I was an elementary school teacher for many years, and there was this desire to see some change. Now, years ago, there was a program that came out, No Child Left Behind, and I could see that it wasn't working, and yet I desired to inspire the teachers, empower the parents, and, really look at having kids lit up about learning and themselves, and it wasn't showing up. Like everything I went to do, I'd hit a wall, and I'd hit another wall. But I remember going into the lunchroom and overhearing a teacher talking about retirement, and I thought to myself, is that why she's still here? And this was a teacher that energetically was no longer enthused about teaching. And I thought, wow, is that what most people are doing? Is that what, it just didn't make sense in my world. And I thought, wow. So I had, kind of some new things open up, and I was able to take a leave of absence from teaching. And in that exploration, I started to look at what lights me up about teaching. And I got to ask myself some questions about, what I enjoyed about working with the kids, what I enjoyed about working with parents, what I desired for them to have, and kind of that greater picture. So I had this incredible coach that just really pushed me to some of the edges, and I ended up creating this program where I worked with the kids, where I would tutor. I would then work with the parents, and this is where I got to use everything in my toolbox. And I was new with the Access Consciousness tools, new with Access Bars, really beginning to use these new tools that I could see shift and change happening quickly. And then I would go to the schools to meet with the teachers. So it was like this threefold program. The interesting part is you begin to hear me. I was excited about it, and people would find me. I did not have a website. I did not have a business plan. I did not have even business cards. So I remember, certain people going wait, Sylvia, you need these things. And I thought, that seemed to slow it down for me at the moment. So I never got those. And yet, before I knew it, I was booked. I had a waiting list. And it's not until now that I can see that there was this energy that I was aware of and the possibilities that I was aware of. And I just want to add, this was during the economic downturn in California. People were losing their homes and they were losing their businesses. They were losing, their jobs. There was a lot of people. It would have been a time that most people would say, Sylvia, you're crazy. I resigned my teaching position during that time. I had this business, and one of my sisters-in-law, very concerned, goes, Sylvia, how's it going? And I thought, what do you mean? Great. I have a waiting list. And in her reality, it was but that's not possible. People don't have the extra money to pay for these extra things. And that was the first time I really got your point of view creates your reality. So for me, it's what would it take for all of us to begin to look at what is it we desire to create? What's that enthusiasm? What lights you up? because that's going to defy all the other things going on. And I don't know, Rachel, maybe you can help me with this, but there's this sense of where we lose the joy of what we'd like and go into what we think we should do that actually destroys a business. So,
you've said it's so amazing. I'm just going to recap over a few things you said that people mightn't even recognize some of the lies that we've been told about life and retirement. A very good friend of ours that we both adore and he inspires us in business is Steve Bowman, and he says retirement is giving up something you hate. So if you're looking to get out of a job, folks, that actually speaks volumes. And one of the big things that Sylvia says here is that she recognized that the amount of time that you spend working, it's a long time, so why not do something that you enjoy? And some people don't have that point of view. And the other thing you said, if you're listening, and this might become the first time that you hear this, it might be like, what? Your point of view creates your reality. What does that actually mean? It means how you view your life is what actually creates your life. When Sylvia said she walked into the luncheon room with the other teachers and there was no longer this level of joy with her work, that she knew something had to change. So if you have a point of view, I have to hold on to this job, guess what? You have to hold on to this job. If you, you know, and we're not told that, Sylvia, because we're told this is a good job. Teaching is a great, teaching is a gift to other people. It's badly paid, but you stay at it anyway, So if you're out there and you're in a job that 9 to 5, it's not filling you up, it's not satisfying you, it's not lighting you up, guess what, folks? You actually have another choice. And how do we know it? Because one of the things that when you come out of employment and someone else paying your salary or your wages, whatever you like to call it, to generate your own income and to start your own business is a big leap. And both of us, myself and Sylvia, really, I suppose, have embraced that every time we've chosen something out of our comfort zone, it has always worked when we have changed our point of view. So please take a moment and be like, hey, what is my point of view around my job? What is my point of view around money? Because this is what the Joy business is all about. It's looking at what your point of view is. And guess what? Your point of view creates your reality. So, and Sylvia, you said something. Yeah, go
ahead.
We're going to be like this. The two of us actually get really excited and we become like little girls when we hang out together because we've so much that we'd like to share with you guys. And so Sylvia said she started asking questions, and this is one of the foundation tools. Joy Business is based on access consciousnesses, where we apply the tools and use them for business. And one of the first things we give you is the tool, don't think, ask a question. And when Sylvia was telling us about her creation, her coaching business, she said she started asking questions, and this is the really exciting part. Ask a question and it creates a possibility. We will be back with you after the break.
No one needs to have a money problem, especially you.
Yeah, did you hear that? You have an unlimited and mostly unaccessed capacity to create money and a financial reality that works for you. Simone Milasas has a brand new book. It's called Getting Out of Debt Joyfully. And right now, when you go to gettingoutofdebtjoyfully.com, if you pre-order the book, you'll get a free online course. What if you can create money in ways no one else can? Just go to gettingoutofdebtjoyfully.com to get your copy today.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Aloha, my name is Jennifer O'Neill, and I'd like to invite you to come join me every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time for my show, Spirit Chat. Spirit Chat focuses on simplifying the process of using the spiritual tools and gifts you were born with in a way that fits into your everyday life. I also teach different techniques that will help you learn how to navigate the spirit realm and empower you on your own spiritual journey. So join me this Wednesday as I guide you through the spirit world.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Hello everyone. My name is Rachel and you are listening to The Joy of Business OMTimes Radio. I am your host today and joining me is my amazing colleague and friend, Sylvia Puentes. Sylvia!
Yes. Thank you so much, Rachel. I love what you said when we broke, too. You said, when you ask a question, it creates possibilities. And this is where also acknowledging where we're already asking questions, but it might not even be verbally, but there's just this energy you be when you're like, all right, like, I know many people may not use the words of what else is possible, but how many of our listeners, certain things come up and they're already kind of like, it's almost like this, you're navigating through the world going, gosh, I know there's something else. What else is possible? So for those people that are, in that 9-to-5 job or would like some change, would like to add more to their life, what if you can begin to just acknowledge that, one, what are you asking for? And two, begin to ask. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's amazing. When I was sharing earlier about, beginning to look at the elements that I really enjoyed about the one job I had as a teacher, that was already this request to the universe, like more of that. So, oftentimes so many people focus on what's not working in their business or relationships or whatever it is that so much attention is going into that you're actually not inviting everything around you, people, the universe, all the energies to contribute to actually you having more of the energy of what you'd like to have in your life. So, yeah, Rachel. So you left me with that. It's like, oh wow, like it was almost as being the question that I never acknowledged I was being, that continues to be a thread throughout my life, and noticing when I get stopped and going, okay, what else is possible even beyond this? Because so many of us actually get to this point where like, okay, everything's kind of fine, so you're kind of stagnant or complacent or satisfied in a way, and yet there's like, wait, can things actually get even better than this? What else is possible? And where have I concluded that I've reached my cap in the growth of my business, my life? So
I adore that you're saying this. I'm just going to put this out. When I moved to the UK, when I first started coming to the UK to do classes, I live here now, I remember getting a train from London to Manchester and sitting into this Virgin train, and it takes 2 hours, 51 minutes. And it's hundreds of kilometres away. I think it's like maybe 400 kilometres. And I remember sitting on the train and hearing as a young kid that the trip from London to Manchester was this 6-hour drive. So I was sitting on this train and it took 2 hours. It actually took 2 hours, 20 minutes, and I'm in Manchester. And we all know Richard Branson, and he created the Virgin trains. When he looked at what he would like to create, it actually wasn't in existence. Like, very few people know that the meaning of creativity, Brené Brown did a beautiful TED talk on this. The meaning of creativity is bringing into existence something that has not existed before. If you're in conclusion in your life, you can't get new information and new viewpoints, and you can't develop your awareness of the possibilities that can be created if you're going to the conclusion. And that's what we're actually talking about here, isn't it, Sylv?
It so is. And I love, and I'll share with the listeners the one tool, if you've heard of Access Consciousness, you've heard of this tool, and it seems so simple, and yet, you know, throughout the 10 years that I've been using the tools and looking at even in business, it seems so simple, and yet the question, which is one of my incredible tools, is what else is possible? And I remember a couple of years ago, you know, as I was in a class and Dr. Dane here, I was saying something, and then after he asked me something, I was like, yes, and what else is possible? And he's all, whoa, hold on. And he invited me to perceive the energy of where I was asking that question from. And this is where, again, there's this like muscle almost, and not pausing, but really beginning to notice, what am I asking for, and what's underneath even the words that I'm saying. And so when you talked about actually creating what has never existed before, that is what this tool invites to show up. What else is possible? And sometimes what I add to that to remind myself is, what else is possible I've never considered before? Somehow that helps me going, oh, it's not just, you know, I now have, you know, 20 choices of what I'm looking at, what else is possible. It really is. Take the cap off totally into the infinite possibilities, and now what else is possible?
And you know what? Oh, sorry. It really awakens your business. It really, really awakens your business. And then you begin to trust that you know, and you develop that something greater is always available. And it's so much faster than words. And really what I would like to acknowledge is that I had bought into the point of view. I was always able to be and do creativity, but I thought I was stupid because a lot of people had done business from judgment and results. And for me, that always seemed like a very narrow shopping cart, let's say, or a very narrow availability of so much more. And so I actually walked away from business thinking, I'm stupid. I don't fit in. Because people made it way too serious for my liking. And then I came to Access Consciousness, and I remember saying to myself, if I can't have ease here, then what's the point? And I stumbled upon the joy business, and what it has birthed in my life, from the girl who genuinely had the point of view that she was stupid, not good enough. 5 years after doing my first joy business class in London, what has opened up in my life, first of all, people that have true gratitude for innovation, and they invite you to be more successful, and they give you the tools to be successful. And one of the most beautiful things I ever heard, Gary Douglas, the creator of Access Consciousness, talk to children in an Italian school, and he said, did you ask for something impossible today? Did you ask for something beautiful? When you ask, there is an abundant universe out there that wants to gift you, and if you ask a question, you tap into that abundance. And this is not something that we're told to do, particularly not with business.
Exactly, and I love it. It might have been that same video or interview with Gary and the kids, but I remember she told me, you may have the idea, the one idea that changes the world.
Whereas,
and I look at like our education, I look at just even parenting. It's like where can we spark that in kids to know that, like, and this is like what you were saying. It's like, well, we, you know, consider ourselves dumb in a certain area, and yet, what if you do know something different and have that idea that could change the world? So, and this is, you know, the gift about business or with Joy of Business that I've received as well, is that I thought in order to consider myself in business that it needed to look a certain way. And when we talk about that, you know, business is your life and your life is your business, I started to look at my life and I thought, oh, wow, if that's the case, then I think I might have a successful business. Because I started to look at that joy and exuberance of living and creating from a totally different space that I do create from the joy of it. There's those floodgates that open and connections and creations show up very quickly and different. And yet, if I was to look at doing it from, I'll say it from this reality or what most of us are taught we need to do, I would either be slowing it down or lose the joy of it. And I wonder, for all the people listening, it's like, what are those gems that are tucked away, hidden, of ideas you've had, of, perhaps even an invention or something that lights you up where it seems impossible. Like, what if you could ask, wow, is this something to be created today? Where could I begin? Who can I talk to? And just allow those questions to begin to open up the possibilities of maybe overhearing a conversation, knowing that, go talk to your uncle or your neighbor, but it's like, what would it take to, it's like bring that all to light and open those possibilities, because the way I see it, our planet needs our creativity more now than ever. It's like, what do we know to have a more sustainable living in business and on this planet? And we may be the key to that. So what if this power of what seems so simple, to ask a question? So what would be 3 questions that you would invite people to ask, Rachel? If we were to leave people with 3 questions.
I suppose.
Not that there's only 3.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I started when I was starting to train myself to be that, you know what I mean? Because we're told conclusion, result, conclusion, result, conclusion, result. And in page 57 of the Joy of Business book, I remember the page. That's so funny. It's like, what's next? Who can I talk to? Who can I call? What are the magical possibilities available for my business today? And then this part, which is super crazy, is that everything has consciousness, including your business or any project that you're working on. It has this way that it wishes to develop. And so today, when I was running someone's bars, which is a beautiful body therapy that allows you to come out of stress and upset, and I was sitting there and I just said, hey, I was talking to my business going, hey business, what would you like to be in the future? So you're allowing the business to have its own consciousness. You're allowing it to contribute. You're allowing it develop. And also it'll give you information. Your business can give you information that allows it to grow. And who would like to be? Who can I talk to? Who can I add to the business? What can I contribute to? What would you like to create next? Oh my goodness, that's more than 3.
And I love it. And this reminds me too, there was a couple of years ago, I stumbled across an interview. I think it was Khan Academy or some academy was interviewing Elon Musk. And I remember being very intrigued by this interview. One, because he was very different. And his conversation wasn't linear. And there was just, we'll be right back and I'll continue with my story.
We'll be right back. We'll follow this.
Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Tune in to the Practical Intuitive, Mind, Body, Spirit for the Real World with me, host Robin Fritz, Mondays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern. I'll cover personal and business intuition, animal communication, mediumship, space clearing, past life regression, shamanic insights, energy healing, soul choice, and more, all to help you tap your own intuitive and healing skills. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Putting the sun back in business. Wake up, go to work, come home, watch TV, go to bed, repeat. Business, work, your job, hate it, bored, want to leave it? Or business, work, your job, fun, play, joy, fun. Which would you like to choose? You may not know this, but business, your job, work can actually be fun. Shake up your business routine. Check out my 3-part free video series on putting the fun back in business. Go to accessjoybusiness.com/fun and put the fun back in business.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hello, amazing people. Welcome to the Joy of Business OMTime radio show. My name is Rachael O'Brien. I'm an advanced Joy of Business facilitator, and I am with my amazing friend, phenomenal, gifted friend, Sylvia Puentes. Hey, Sylvia.
Hello. And we were just acknowledging over the break, like really the joy of, we could probably have a 5-hour show together. This sense of this joy of creating in this conversation that's so different than most conversations you might hear about business. But Rachel, we ended the show with, looking at some questions that people can ask. And you were saying, one of them would be that you've used is, what's next? And, and I love that one because it keeps the energy flow moving, like your creation's going, okay, what's next? And if that steps you out of that conclusion of like you've arrived, you have your business, you're doing business and it's all done. But what if that simple question of what's next can just continue to have you open up to even greater and more? And then the other one was, who can I talk to today? Like, all right, who can I talk to today? Like, what is it, a way of engaging out in the world? Could be picking up the phone. It might be someone down the street. But it's like, who can you talk to today, and what would you be willing to receive in that conversation? Because this is where we're so busy sometimes talking to people that we're actually not listening. So who can you talk to, and who might have something that might add to your business today? And the other one that I had shared is like, what else is possible I've never considered before? And again, continuing to ask to go beyond what you've concluded, desired, or even considered was possible for you in your business. And was there another one that you had asked, Rachel?
And well, you were about to tell a story about Elon Musk, and I was like, can we have the story now? Can we have the
Oh, okay. Forget the questions, the story, no. Well, for me, when I heard this interview of Elon Musk I was sharing before the break, it was just that moment listening to someone that I didn't know the depth of what Elon had created at that point, but I was aware of an energy he was being, because he was speaking, and he wasn't your typical speaker. He wasn't very linear. He wasn't even being very formal. I think he was even eating a snack while he was talking. But there was something that he kept repeating, and as he was looking at a lot of the things that he was creating was out of a question. And he started to notice where even with space, he started to notice, well, obviously we've already, have done this research, or there's someone doing, looking at what it's going to take to get to Mars, to actually maybe even live there. Like there was just questions in his world. So as he started to make some calls, do some research, he realized there wasn't. So he started to tap into what he was curious about and what wasn't even, no one was taking any action on. So I felt like, wow, he's actually functioning from questions. Like, what else is possible here? What else? And then noticed as he went into his research or different things where he kept meeting up against, like, that's not possible. And even after different spaceships had come down and, exploded, like the not giving up and never quitting to what it is that you know. So it was really fascinating, to begin to listen to some of these catalysts of creating beyond what people think is possible, and their way of creating is so different. And just what I got out of there too is like, wow, there is power in asking a question. So for, as I listen to people speak, it's like, well, what do you know? What would you like to see? And just allowing ourselves to dream again, to ask again. And, I get the joy of facilitating these classes where I do get to ask people, and you start to uncover what it is they already know. And then what actions can I take today to have that actualized? Because we do live in an action world, there's actions to take. So, the joy, the inspiration, all of that incredible energy. And then what's the action I can take today to actualize that right away?
Can we talk about that a little more? I mean, the whole essence of Joy Business is to provide people with tools so that they can remove their limitations, disabilities with money. I had a lot of disabilities with money. In other words, points of views that were limiting my money flows. And what we see, like, we get to be the witnesses of the pretty amazing and wonderful possibilities that show up for people right in front of our eyes when they change their points of views, and how the money flows into their life, how they grow, expand, develop from their businesses. So can we talk about people? We live in an action world, and like last weekend, Sylvia was in Brazil at a huge seminar where there was, I think it was like 1,200 people live, is it?
It was less than that, and yet it was the largest we've had so far live in Access Consciousness. So it was a huge event.
No, so let's talk about. We're not talking about here asking questions and sitting down and not taking action.
Right.
If you're going to bring, we live in a physical world, and if you're going to bring something into a physical actualization, in other words, bring it physically into the world, like if you're teaching a class, there has to be a venue booked. You require a host. There's manuals. There's massage tables. There's, the audio, people to organize the audio. So this action, we can take actions in 10 seconds. You can take actions, and so often we're really entrained to not act as fast as we can.
Yes. And the gift of coordinating this huge event that we had in Brazil was also the gift of continuing being in the question and working with the team that all brought different elements. Because this is the other gift. You have a business, you're going to have different people on your team. They process things different. They have different ideas. But the gift of really allowing everyone to shine and bring their ideas forward. I mean, it can seem so simple, and yet the way we organize tables and chairs, everything from what we provided with, we had cotton candy and popcorn there. Everything with also our sound system. On the second day, we had to readjust some things. But when you don't make anything right or wrong, there's always growth to continuing to grow and make it even greater. And there was also an element too there that even at that number, there was this level of ease and joy through the event, which at that space of number of people, I think that was one of the things that impacted people the most. It's like, wow, that went pretty smoothly, and we had evening events and morning events and lunch events, and so it was a nonstop ongoing. And yet this is, oftentimes this, what people would call chaos in this, when there's so many things going on at once, where people might look to really bring this strict order to it. When you can have the organizations and the chaos and the joy of it all, there's something totally different that gets created. And I got to witness that, a couple weekends ago in Sao Paulo with this event. And now we're asking, wow, what else is possible even from there? And where can we have greater ease and joy and, really be able to have a coliseum full of people and have it flow? So again, continuing to ask for more and acknowledging what we did create and inviting everybody to come forward with their ideas and their creativity.
It's so funny, every time you talk, I hear about 10 of the tools in your conversation because you've become them. And can you talk a little bit about acknowledging what you're creating? It's one of the big things that changed for me in 2019. I didn't ever sit down and recognize and acknowledge what I had created. And there was a dishonoring in me in that I wasn't sitting down going, wow, I've just created this. Because some of us we're trained to look at what we haven't got instead of what we have. And you've just said there, the acknowledgement of what you're creating and a gratitude for yourself, for me, seems to melt my limitations with business and what I can create. Yeah. Can you talk about what that is?
Yes.
What that is for you?
And this is really like creating beyond the results. It's amazing. I've talked to a couple different, and they've already, when you have a set result that you're looking to achieve, it's almost like you lose the moments that you can acknowledge and celebrate and be in gratitude of all the little things that show up, as you're creating. And I had a friend once that said, like, Sylvia, she goes, you celebrate every little thing. Like, a client called you to book a session and you're celebrating. I was like, she was almost annoyed with me, and it was the funniest thing. And I thought, well, yeah, like that, for me, it was like all the little things that somehow I was always looking for an excuse to celebrate maybe, but it was that sense. And she goes, she realized that she was waiting for the big, result that she was waiting to achieve before she could celebrate. And I thought, wow, like there is an energy. Again, I keep bringing back to an energy because there is an energy that kind of is this momentum that moves you forward and moves your creations forward and your business forward. And acknowledging is one of them, and gratitude is another one. And that energy of celebrating, not from like I made it, I'm done, but it's like, awesome, okay, one more step, one more client, one more, phone call, or, even the energies of the sun came out, whatever it may be for you, but there is this energy of acknowledging. And it's also acknowledging the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because there's also those moments where we haven't really gotten to see that every choice and every creation contributes to the next. But what if you began to acknowledge all of it? It's like, okay, that sucks. That didn't go the way I thought. All right. What next? What else can I choose today? But that is a different way of functioning in the world where we're taught. You've got to look at what's not working. How can you be so happy? You just, lost that amount of money. You just, that didn't work out and look so well. And it's like, what if you're looking to grow your business even greater and more? What are 5 things you can acknowledge about you? 5 things you can acknowledge about your business? And they don't have to be like the hooray, beautiful, big things. It could be a lot of little things. Because what if every little step, every little choice, every little action actually can create so much more if we actually receive them, acknowledge them.
Play with that during the break. We will be back.
What do you hate about business? And do you want to change it? If you don't want to change anything about your job or business, stop listening. You're all good. If you'd like to have money just for the fun of it and stop the negative self-talk, check out Joy of Business. This is about knowing what you know about business and creating more than you can imagine. Access Joy of Business 101 classes offered around the world. Go to accessjoyofbusiness.com/101.
As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors. connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
Hello, I'm Lisa Berry. Join me every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for Light on Living, a chance to see new, hear different, and feel more as I shine the spotlight on all the ways to lighten the load of life's challenges. Light on Living is your link to that new way you're looking for, that new understanding that will enhance your life, and that positive connection that will support your growth. So join me, and you'll gain insight and start to see things in a new way that motivates you.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hello, folks, and welcome back. My name is Rachael O'Brien, and I'm your host for the Joy of Business OMTimes radio show today, and I am with my amazing colleague, who is also a friend, Sylvia Puentes. Hey, Sylvia.
Hello, Rachel. It's so amazing. I've just enjoyed this conversation so much, and this is where, you begin to acknowledge, you've been so great at bringing it all together and pulling out the tools or that are already embedded in a lot of how I live and what I choose. And I wonder how many people out there, have made themselves wrong, and that they have so many things that do work for them that they can bring out to light. So inviting you all to find a Joy of Business class somewhere or a facilitator, because what if you're not wrong in this area of business? And what else do you know that's greater than you can imagine?
So this is how it works, folks, and this is not linear. This is not based on results. Before we went to the break, it popped into my head, gee, I must ask Sylvia when's her next Business Done Different class. There's these 3-day business classes that give you the tools that allow you to come out of limitation and just create phenomenal, get the joy back in business, find what you love to do, and actually have fun doing it. Sylvia, you have a class coming up this weekend?
I do. I actually fly out early morning. I'm headed out to Mexico City. I'm co-facilitating with Heather Nichols, another Joy of Business facilitator. And so exciting. We're going to have it translated, so it'll be in English. People can join us online. And also, fly out to Mexico City and enjoy the beautiful city in the area. I'm super, super excited to actually my demand for 2020 is really for people to see the gifts and talents they have in this area of business, their life, their living. And, I love how Simone says, what if no one had to have a money problem? So,
what if no one had to have a money problem and anyone can do business?
Exactly. And I love that, because this is where, what if business is actually part of creating your life and adding what it is that you would like to add to that. So I'm excited. So there will be more classes coming up around the world, along with, I'm doing a Spanish book club of Getting Out of Debt Joyfully. That's also Simone Milasas' book. That's incredible, filled with tools, questions, super fun, and just a bigger demand for a different financial reality. So join me, and you can always find me on the website as well. Yeah. What about you?
Do you want to give people, would you like to give people, I'd like to give people your website that they can go find you. So you may notice that we have a very different energy with each other. We actually, Access Consciousness talks about that each one of us is a unique catalyst for change, and we function from an energy of contribution. And my point of view is Sylvia Puentes is one of the leading minds in consciousness on the planet, and I learned so much for her. Now, for what reason would I not like her business to be as great as it can be, and for her classes to be global? So this is one of the things that I was invited to, that I always knew was possible, that we could contribute to the growth and the expansion of each other's businesses. It's so cool.
It is, and thank you, Rachel, because what if that is an energy that's available out in the world? And it is something that makes it very different as Access Consciousness and Joy of Business facilitators, is that we are always looking at contributed to each other. And people tend to see that, so wait, you guys have the same clientele, and it was like, yeah, but there's one, lots of millions of people around the planet, and two, what if our target is very similar? So we're all looking to contribute to people expanding their financial reality, their businesses, their joy, consciousness on the planet. So it's like, why would I not? And so thank you, Rachel, definitely for the contribution and the gift that you be and inviting me to always step up and out more into the world. So people can find me on the Access Consciousness website for now. My personal website's under development. You can find me on YouTube, and you'll see things in Spanish and in English there under Sylvia Puentes, and that's Sylvia with a Y and Puentes with a P, Puentes. And so also on Instagram and Facebook, and looking to reach people in many other platforms coming soon, and maybe my own podcast. We'll see. The demand is there in English and Spanish, and if it's fun, I may do both.
How does it get any better than that? Oh my goodness me. And if you're looking to find out where I am in the world, again, you can go to the Access Consciousness website, www.accessconsciousness.com, and then rachelO'Brien.org. And again, like Sylvia, we have the same targets. Sylvia talked about the Get Out of Debt Joyfully book. I'm so grateful that you're facilitating this. I actually was in a lot of debt when I came to Access, and I avoided it dynamically. And then one day I just, because we don't make anything wrong. It's a business beyond judgment. And then I looked at it and I said, it's time for it to change. And with the use of the tools, I thought I was going to lose my house. The dad of my kids got sick. He couldn't work. And by using the tools and continuously showing up in my life, guess what? My life got easier, and today I've got no debt. How does it get any better than that?
And that's the gift of being in the question and having a demand for something totally different. Yeah. How does it? And, many of what we shared, too, for people that may want to begin even with a book. There is the Joy of Business book translated in many languages. There's a book of Getting Out of Debt Joyfully.
I think it's 14 languages now.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. And these tools are changing people's reality. And, you can read it, take no action, or read it and begin to use what's in the book just for you, just for fun. Try it out and see what it changes. And then if you're looking for a class or would like to take a class first, there's Joy of Business facilitators all around the world. And we hop around the globe, really bringing these tools to your city, to your area. So you can even always request for us to come. So, yes, functioning different with business and possibilities.
And not only can you request for us to come, you can actually request your business to give you more business, to bring you clients. You can ask money to contribute to you. You can ask more money to come. Can I have the money now, please?
Yes.
So there's an old story. We're coming towards the end of today's show, and there's a very old story that Simone Milasas tells in class still, and I love it. She went into a store where they sold washing machines years ago in New Zealand, and the staff this is in the Joy Business book, it's so beautiful, and she gave the staff the tool, how does it get any better than this? And every time they'd sell a machine, everyone in the shop had a note, ask, how does it get any better than this? And their sales, I can't remember, but it was like their sales went up 100% in a very, very short period. So whether you own a laundrette, or a washing machine store, or a printing shop, or sell televisions, or you're a coach, whatever business you're in, if you sell flowers, lamps, blankets, ask, how does it get any better than this? Acknowledge that money is showing up, and then ask again, how does it get any better than this? So Sylvia talked clearly about acknowledging when something shows up. How does it get any better than this? Every time you sell something, and within 6 months it was, that business had doubled its sales, and everyone was happy. And when people are generating money and they're doing what they love to do, it's a win-win situation, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It really is. And it's interesting. There was in reading the Getting Out of Debt Joyfully recently, it says when you love what you do. Oh, I almost got to look it up to get it correct. But it was that energy that gets created when you love what you do that really has, this energy and the money come. So I just wonder what would it take for all of us to begin to enjoy creating beyond what we thought was possible in our business and our life. So, check out these tools. What else would we like to leave people? There's almost this last piece here. I'm not sure what it is. There's this energy you may have noticed throughout the interview of enthusiasm, and I used to judge myself that I used to bounce from one thing to the next and all around. And now I just have a lot of fun with it. And that's another incredible tool. It's like that beginning to step out of judgment of you and actually having fun. Because when you step out of the judgment of you and not worrying about getting it right or worried about getting it wrong or trying to get it right and worried about getting it wrong, perfect, correct, there's this sense of joy and ease that shows up. And things just flow different. So what would it take for all of us to step out of the judgment and allow our difference and quirkiness to come out? And you might inspire one person, and that person may inspire many others. Like, what if it's not about being perfect and getting business right? What if this energy of joy can contribute to so much more than you can imagine? So what is that one thing you can choose today that will bring more joy in your business, your life, the relationships? And it really is just one choice away. So I think those might be my last words, if there's such a thing.
And I'm so grateful that you talked about it. I'm so grateful that you talked about it, because so often what we do easy, we have value in what we can't do and what someone else does well. So this is about not looking at what someone else does well. Of course, I have gratitude for that, but actually acknowledging what you do well and what's fun for you. Because so often we don't value what comes easy and natural to us, and we look to be something different. But what Sylvia just talked about is exactly what I was thinking about. What if today you looked at what you love to do? Check us out, Joy of Business. We adore you, Sylvia. Thanks for being here.
Yay! Bye.
Yay!